The scientific name is Hydrangea quercifolia, which means oak leaf hydrangea. And if you look at the leaves, they do look like oak leaves. Now, Hydrangea quercifolia is best planted in partially shaded areas. And if you take a look at where this is growing on the north side of Tallock Knoll, you'll notice it's growing in a filtered sun area beneath several trees, including one oak. Very, very beautiful plant. Take a look at it if you get a chance when you're down here. It's probably going to be in bloom for another week or so, at least. And that is Hydrangea quercifolia, the oak-leafed hydrangea. Beautiful species of hydrangea with white flowers that grows in drier settings than the common ornamental hydrangea does. And here is a picture I took about a week ago of the fountain. And you notice we still have aloes blooming. It is mid-May, mid to late May, and we still have aloes blooming. Now this is probably aloe brevifolia, but don't hold me to it. I'm not exactly sure which aloe this is. I took the picture a while back. But it's blooming like crazy. If you do want to know which aloe this is, feel free to come on in. I'll look that up for you. By the way, you can come into the Arboretum during my office hours, and if you're looking for a certain plant in our collection, I will help you find it. I have all of the collection data here, and I'll be able to help you find those plants if we still have them, if we have them in our collection. It's a good idea to call first before you come. The number is 626-821-3236. And I can't get enough of these. Cannot get enough of those jacarandas. They're just gorgeous right now. It got a little warm today. I think it was pushing close to 80. And this does not bode well for the jacarandas. I'm hoping that this doesn't last too long. If we have about a week or more of 80+ degree temperatures, they start going out of bloom, and we lose that beautiful blue show that they put on. And in front of them is Nephofia viriana, which is a lily family member that grows in South Africa. Here's another neat picture of our fountains out there, framed by a camphor tree. This shot was taken near the junction of where the encircling road, I guess I call it, the road that circles the Arboretum, meets the road that goes by the South African section. They're in the African section. Just down the road, this is on the west side of the Bower Lawn. We have a couple of South African natives that are blooming up a storm. In the foreground, that yellow flower is a gazania, most probably Gazania ringens, but there are a lot of hybrids and cultivars out there, so it's tough to say exactly which gazania that is. But in the back, I can tell you exactly what that is. Those yellow flowers growing in the lawn, actually growing in the lawn, are Arctotheca calendula, a South African native that spreads through not rhizomes, but they're underground stems. I guess you call those rhizomes, though it's not really a typically rhizotomous plant. It roots as it spreads, and this can invade an entire lawn if you're not careful. They had a big problem with this up in San Francisco about 10 years ago when somebody decided that this plant was just the best thing in the world for any occasion and started planting it surreptitiously in parks and other public spaces in San Francisco. This resulted in a lot of areas being lost to this weed, which it was what it was there because it was spreading. And so they had to commence a program to eradicate this plant. It was also affecting, I do believe, some native growing areas, areas that grow natives, wild areas, and somebody was intentionally spreading this. Don't know why. It is a beautiful plant, but not that good looking. Again, get out here before the heat takes these away. What I like about this particular picture is the beautiful blue cast that you see at the bottom there from the flowers falling off of the jacaranda. They call that the shadow of the jacaranda. There is a close-up of the jacaranda flowers. Jacaranda is in the trumpet vine family, Bignoniaceae. And Bignoniaceae contains quite a few ornamental vines that people find very attractive, including Clitostoma callistigioides. Thank you very much. Clitostoma callistigioides, also known as the pink trumpet vine, is a trumpet vine that is used extensively here in Southern California. It's a little bit more drought tolerant than some of the larger trumpet vines that are out there. And in the wintertime, it will lose half or more of its leaves because it's partially deciduous. It's not a bad plant to use, even in an area that's water saving, because it's got it's got some drought tolerance. You can get it down to once a week on the watering once it's established. Now, another plant that's extremely drought tolerant and is putting on a heck of a show, that is, if you like white flowers. Some people just don't like white flowers. They're kind of not that interesting, but these are interesting. This is a plant whose common name is snow in summer. This is Melaleuca linearifolia. And Melaleuca linearifolia is a very interesting plant. It has a summer blooming period as opposed to most Melaleucas, which like to bloom a little earlier than that. It's very drought tolerant. It tends to produce its own mulch bed from fallen needles and fallen bark. But the most interesting thing about this plant are its beautiful snowflake-like blooms. There's nothing quite like them. There they are. They're like snowflakes, literally like snowflakes. If you notice, what you're looking at are anther filaments, and these anther filaments are just profuse. And it's just an amazing looking plant, beautiful looking plant. Now let me show you something I saw while I was out there. We had some rain just a while back, nice late May rain, almost a quarter of an inch to an inch, and that's been bringing up mushrooms. Now, I'm not quite sure which mushroom this is, probably in the genus Mycena, or it could be in the genus, another small genus, which I can't remember, Marasmius. It could be a Marasmius, but it's probably a Mycena. At any rate, these small mushrooms tend to get a lot less attention from mushroom aficionados, and that's because most mushroom aficionados love edible mushrooms, and these are definitely not edible. Maybe not poisonous, but definitely not edible, and they could be poisonous too. Who wants to take a chance trying out a mushroom that's extremely small? This mushroom is about maybe 2 inches tall and a ½ inch wide. Really, really small mushroom. And finally, lastly but not leastly, this is probably the last couple of days or a few days before these are going to go out of bloom and take away all your great photographic possibilities. These are Tower of Jewels, also scientifically known as Echium wildpredii. Again, they are native to Mount Teide on the Canary Islands. and they come up, they're biennials, they come up year after year from seed here. And you say, wait a minute, you said biennial, doesn't that mean 2 years? What do you mean they come up every year from seed? Well, they sit around a long time after they set seed. They go through more than one season, and biennial means more than one season, not necessarily more than 1 year. Although it sounds like it means more than one season. So you'll have a biennial can go germinate, say, in September and not bloom until close to that next September, say August. Now, it'll appear to people that it's an annual, but it's actually going through more than one season, growing season. That'd be the fall growing season and later on the spring growing season. So it really means 2 growing seasons and not necessarily 2 years. Well, that's it for today. Come on down to the